Hey guys, what's going on? A few people have been asking me to go through how I play these Goldman scalping SPX alerts in Sidekick Traders Discord. We pay Goldman to come into Sidekick Traders and he alerts us trades in there every single day. Today there was one trade, so I thought I'd do it on SPX. Sometimes I switch and do funded futures stuff, so I'll do the E-minis. But today I thought I would do SPX for a couple of reasons. One of them just being to help people out that have just recently joined. We've had dozens and dozens and dozens of people joining, and I thought I would do one and just kind of talk through my thought process. A lot of people complain with these types of trades that they can't get in these fast enough or out fast enough, or like they don't believe that it's real. And so that's why I do these videos, is to try and show like every trade, every 1 minute candle, so you can kind of look at it and say, hey, yeah, that would work, that could work, okay, I must be doing this wrong or whatever, to try and figure out like why, you know, you might not be seeing the profits that Goldman's seeing or the other people in the Discord are seeing. So hopefully this is somewhat helpful. I'll try and keep doing this style of video, and hopefully it'll benefit you guys that are already taking these types of trades with Goldman in Sidekick Traders. So today was an interesting day. We had one trade alert, this one, and it was at 12:43, so it kind of held off for a while. People were getting a little bit impatient, I noticed. I know I was getting a little antsy for the trade. So he was holding off for good reason. Premiums were acting weird today. It was just a really weird, choppy day overall, and that was reflected in this particular trade. So he found one SPX calls, so the 40-25 calls at $2 around about lunchtime, and it kind of was odd. Like, a lot of times these trades just take off straight away, but this time it actually dipped a little bit, more than you kind of expect or are used to with these trades if you're taking them on a regular basis. And I was able to get in a little bit later than him and get into these same SPX 40-25 calls and make some money. So you can see what he did right here. He went in at 11:43 my time, which is central, and then out at 11:53, so that was, 11:51, so 8 minutes, something like that. That was his first scale, but then I think he waited and then got out some of the rest of them. So yeah, he got out break even, scaling out. That's what SL means. I get a lot of questions about this now. What does SL and BE mean? SL means stop loss, and BE is break even. And that's because the premium was decaying hard. It was just a weird day. So this is not a typical trade. I'd say this is definitely on the weaker side of things from what I've experienced having Goldman in the Discord for 6 months plus now and following him really, really closely. So if we go down here a little bit, you can see he got out. He says options are trash today. And there was a few other missed plays, but really I think he got about 18%. So yeah, he got 18% on this one. So he got 2 to 235. I think that was a runner. So yeah, so let's have a look at what I did. So I put it into a PowerPoint here. Thanks again to BLC for posting this. It makes my life a lot easier. And so these graphs that I show in these videos are usually from BLC if they look like this. If they don't, it's usually me that's putting them together, but I really like the way this guy does these things, so thanks if you're watching BLC, this is really helpful. And so the way he does this is he puts an arrow to show that these are calls, he puts the time on the arrow, and the entry is at the end of the arrow. And so the next arrow is this first scale, so here would be where Goldman scaled, and this is a 1 minute chart, so you can see that we did have this dip on the calls, and then boom, we went back up. And the difference is not very much. Like it was a very small win. The premiums do move more. This is the underlying SPX, but you can see you got 18% on that within 8 minutes or so. And so what I thought I would do is kind of show my order. So I got it out here. Let's just get rid of this guy. Things are sometimes hard to show on YouTube exactly. So this is my screenshot of this, I made $725 on this today, right here. Move this along here so you can actually see it. So these were the 40-25 calls, 29th March, so 0 DTE. And then I would click here. So I put in the orders here so you guys can see. This is just the way I play it, and I'm not a particularly good trader, I'm pretty bad at times. And so I thought I would just kind of show what I did though, my thought process. So I ended up in this one quite a bit larger than I like to, that I used, that I usually do. And so I ended up with 30 contracts, which is fairly big position size for me on these, but I have been trading them a lot. So I'm fairly confident that when I see a dip, it usually is short-lived and will mean it'll go the other way. So I'm not too frightened to add, but I don't necessarily recommend that you do this. Usually averaging down or adding to position is not the best bet. But because I'm so used to trading these scalp alerts, I know that if there is a dip, it's usually short-lived. So the cool thing is this didn't just take off straight away. So I was actually able to get in a couple of minutes later than him. So you can see my first entry at 11:44, whereas his first entry I think was 11:43. Let's go back and have a look. So let's get back in. All right, let's zoom out. Let's have a look. So we scale back up here. So remember, this is my time here. So yeah, I was a little bit later than him, so I was a minute later, and it actually continued down. So that was the cool thing today, is it wasn't a super rush trade. It continued down for a few minutes, so you can see from 11:44, that was my first buy. So if I zoom along here, just trying to make this, so you can see that I was able to get in at 215, so I chased a little bit, and then it started to pull back, and I added down to 190. So you can see that I added as time went on here. So 3 minutes went by, I scaled in 3 times. And this is not ideal. And I did feel a little bit nervous at this point, because these things, like, if they go against you, they can go against you hard. I'm just kind of showing you what I did. Doesn't mean it's the way to do it or the best way to do it. And then so as we started to spike back up, luckily 3 minutes later we started to spike back up. And the premium actually went up really nicely. It went from like 190 to the 230s. Really pretty quickly, and so I limited out at 230 and then 235. So I really got a nice exit there with some of the positions. Unfortunately, I should have probably taken everything then, but hindsight is 2020, right? And so I only took half the position off then, and the other half I let ride, and I let it ride back down a little bit, and then Goldman closed his position, so I ended up closing mine as well for kind of a small gain. I think I averaged 12% on this. And it took about 10 minutes. So it was a weird trade. Unfortunately, today would not have been a great day on any of these trades for really trading at all. It was a weird day. But in particular, these alerts today from Goldman, well, this one main alert, didn't really move much at all. You'd have been lucky to get a point or two on ES on it. So in some ways, I'm glad that I traded SPX today rather than trying to build up my funded future accounts more. So it sometimes happens. If it's not always going to be $1,000, $2,000 days using your funded futures account or whatever, but today was weird. So if you're new to the server and you're watching this, just want you to let you know that 18% for Goldman, 12% for me, those are really low numbers. Like usually it's more like 30, 40, 50%, 100%, 200%. Like this is difficult trading at the moment, so don't be too disheartened if you're joining and finding these trades to be a little tricky. You always have ups and downs in the markets and good times and bad times trading these, but at least it's not a losing trade, right? That's the main thing. So if you want to join, I'll leave a link in the description below. We have a 3-day trial, and what you get for that is you get Goldman's scalping alerts. So we pay for these, they come into the server, and he usually wins about 90-95% of the time. The community is basically built around this, so the idea is that we help each other out on how to trade these, how to use the futures on these alerts, how to do SPY or SPX options on them. And these are the typical winning ranges. Like I said, 18% today, about 20% minimum on the wins, and 500% I've seen is the most I've ever seen happen on these. But this is not the only thing that we have in the server. We have Lance, who's doing swing trade and day trade alerts as well. He's awesome. He's also doing some debit spreads. And we also have a weekly spread on the Russell 2000 from Josh as well. And we're adding to this as time goes on. So this is not the end of like what Sidekick Traders is going to be. It's just the start, really. So we're building a really awesome, engaged community. Dozens of people joining pretty much daily now, which is great. And we're all helping each other out, trying to have a positive outlook on these trades in the community. And people are exchanging tips on how to do these trades the best that they've found. So hopefully that's helpful. If you're not in, come and join. I'll leave a link in the description below, and I'll talk to you guys soon.